I've experienced kind of some of the same things where a couple of things I've learned. Is that kind of getting feedback? Yeah. I've learned not only, obviously, if I don't feel that I'm capable of doing something, I will definitely pass it along, and knowing that, but also things I'm excited about. I mean, I've built a frame where it was frankly just not my style or not something I really believed in, but I was committed to build it, and it challenged me, and it was great and everything, but I would not build another one of those frames if somebody came to me and wanted that. I know lots of quality builders, and I would refer that to someone who is passionate about that, because if you're going, to the trouble of getting a custom frame, I think it's important to find a builder who has the same vision you do.
And to even add on to that, for us, we're all capable in the craft, but for True Fab, I like to joke around. There's things we do well and there's things we don't do well. And one of the main things we don't do well is make the bikes fast. We are not quick builders. And so when we take on a project, if we have to formulate and R&D and work on these things, it takes abnormally long. And so that makes our regular long turn into really long, and that hurts the whole customer experience in the end for people who've been waiting, and the other customers, right?
Great. Next question is, what do you enjoy most about it? What's the most fun for you? What gets you jazzed to build?
We'll shake it up and go in a different order. Personally, what I like most about building, and it's something, unfortunately, that my other two partners don't experience a whole lot, is actually delivering the bicycle. We keep them locked in a cave, and I do a lot of the customer interaction, and so there is something very, very special about handing somebody their bicycle, especially if it's completely built and ready to be ridden. Seeing that look on their face, and it reminds me back to the kid question, early cycling experience is, a brand new custom bike for a consumer. They look like that 12-year-old boy on a BMX bike for the first time, and they light up, and part of their identity is wrapped up in this custom bike. And it's something that you really can't get as an experience. My experience, that type of interaction doesn't come from probably any other person about it.
I'd agree with Brad that delivering the bike is probably the most rewarding part of the whole process. But the whole customer interaction, I try and make every build almost like a collaboration between me and the customer, and I get as much input from them, and then if I kind of see them going in the wrong direction, I kind of go about this and try and steer them into, and then we just kind of get to this point where they're really happy with it, and I'm really happy with it, and then when they get the bike, that's the best part. I would say outside of that, in the workshop itself, brazing is probably my favorite part. Just smelling the flux. That's the best part. Just getting a nice clean braze, and then after the braze, you did a really clean job, and you don't have to put much time cleaning it up, and it's nice and straight. That's pretty rewarding too.
Yeah, I would agree with both of you guys on the delivery part, whether it's delivering a repair that you repaired a frame and it's come in and had issues, and they look at it and like, where'd you fix this, or wow, that's better than I was expecting, or I think the other part is it is rewarding when you lay down and you float the log and it just comes out nice. It's nice to see the project done. I think every bike at some point you can get in time, you guys like, oh, I'm tired of this one. But no, but it is a rewarding thing. And then the other thing that I think is my mind just is always running, designing something. I get partway through one, I was like, oh, I could do this on something else, something unique or different. So that's also part of it. But in step back to the other comment, I think, you know, we talked about what type of stuff we build. It's also knowing our limits, like that was referred to. So, you know, we're all capable builders on that side.
On the flip side, what's the biggest challenge in working on a project or anything you have to
Sorry. Is that better? Rear triangles, I would say that's the hardest, frustrating part.
Rear triangles are challenging. I've got one that was supposed to be here today, but it's stuck in paint. And that's on, you know, not just the painter's side, that's on the customer side, being a very, very detailed paint. They went to UCLA and they want some stuff on that reflects the school when they went there, and that's been a challenge, and get the colors. And, you know, and just, it's going to be rewarding when that one's delivered, because I know how they are. I also know that they're very picky. But you know, it's been hours on the phone going between them and the painter and myself looking. So those things take time, and it's a challenge, but it's also it is rewarding. You know.
I agree with all the things you guys said in that regard. Paint is a huge challenge. Quality paint, timely paint.
and because, at least for most of us, we're not in control of that.
Exactly.
That we're leaving that up to someone else, and that's the first thing that the customer sees.
Lucky for me in True Fab, a lot of the bikes I built have been local, and so they know me, and they're there, and they can come to the shop. And so there's this weird, when it goes to paint, I think custom builders have a reputation of having this excuse, oh, it's at paint. And my customers have actually had a chance to see, no, it's really at paint, and it's taking a month to get this thing back because he said it would be a weekend. And that's really frustrating. It is out of control. Rear ends, I agree with you guys 100%. And just interestingly enough, these full suspension bikes, they have their own nuances, and there's a lot of weird things we haven't experienced prior, but the rear end is done. And then to be unique with, to add something to the challenge side, it goes back to True Fab, not making bikes quickly. I mean, we all have full-time jobs outside of doing bicycles. And so we fabricate after hours a couple of times a week. And so if a mistake happens, if you mismiter a tube, or you had a tube, you realize a tube you thought you had, you don't have. And so you have to order it in and get it in, and it flies in from 4 states across, and it ends up, for us, missing 3 days is a theoretical week of fabrication time. So we get, instantly our project gets pushed back 3 weeks because we had to get a tube in, and then that's very frustrating in that regard.
Yeah, that is the worst. I've actually had a project where I didn't have my water bottle bosses. I thought I had a bin of water bottle bosses, and I didn't, and that was the only thing holding up this project. So
surely there's enough builders in town that you can run over.
That's true.
That's true.
So we're going to wrap up here in just a minute. I have a few kind of fun questions here at the end, but I wanted to wrap up and let each of you have an opportunity to tell us about a interesting project you've worked on recently, either interesting features, a challenging process, a challenging customer, just maybe a bike that you have. Maybe not. Maybe we won't talk about customers. But or maybe, and especially, of course, if you've got the bike here, that'd be great because then people can go look at it. But even if not, just you know, what something that's kind of out of the ordinary or interesting or has gotten you excited recently.
That's a good one. I'm not sure where to start. Well, we already talked about paint, so we won't go there. No, actually, the paint's not that big of a thing, but it is challenging. I think the thing that's that in my mind, like I said, my mind tends to run different things. Fell in love with travel bikes right now, so looking at this Balenki here as I'm sitting here is thinking about that, the couplings and the the design process that you've got to, to fit that in a suitcase, things like that. The project that I'm currently riding right now is a carbon travel bike. Full carbon, no couplings. And it's at the boot. Shameless plug right there.
Without a doubt, the most recent project that we're working on is one of the cooler projects we've done. Mo and Clark weren't real keen on it, so to speak, because I was beating them like rented mules to get it finished. But it stretched us in many ways, and we accomplished something that we're very proud of, and it's very unique. It's the full suspension long travel 29er that was on the stand over here at our booth, and I'll give a little bit of background to it. What we wanted to do with these bikes, we made a pair of them. They're near identical, subtle differences. We made them at the same time, and our goal was to have. It's not even. I mean, legitimately, they're one of the few bikes of its kind in the nation. We were trying to get one of the longest travel 29ers made. Lens Sport makes something longer. These were 150 millimeter travel rear ends, which is 6 inches. There's a lot of companies out there making 5-inch travel 29ers. There's a few doing 5.5, so our goal was to break the 5.5 mark. And then there's one other company that I'm aware of that's actively making a 6 and a 7-inch travel bike. So ours is maybe one of two offerings in the nation right now. And these are prototype phases. But we agonized for a month over the design and moving pivots around and trying to figure out how can you get everything. It's a Ventana rear end, and so we called Sherwood, and I spoke with him at length, trying to get some tips on how to see around corners that I can't see around. And in the end, he laughed at me and he goes, "You want everything, don't you?" And we came close to getting everything. Lower bottom bracket, short chain stays, long travel, all of those things. And so we're really, really proud of it. And then to finish up the rest of the story, we had an event last Saturday, which was a 12-hour downhill in Angel Fire, New Mexico. So it was 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., just shuttle runs until you fall dead. And we finished the fabrication Tuesday morning. We built one bike Wednesday, the other bike Thursday. We loaded up at 9 p.m. Thursday night, drove through the night to Angel Fire. The very first ride on the bike for both of us was getting on the lift and going to the top of the shuttle run. We got 3 runs in it on Friday and then raced it for 12 hours on Saturday. Technically an unproven design that we had welded a week before. And we did a total of 58 runs in 24 hours. So it was fun, it was challenging, it was unique, it's different. It's hopefully something we can kind of continue to dial into weekend.